Diese Konferenz wird nun aufgezeichnet.
Very good. So welcome again to our OCP European Workstream call. We have a really high or fully packed agenda for today's call. The second call in a row now. Next one is in September. Let me continue here and show you what we have together in our agenda today. So we are focusing, of course, this time on the existing OCP experience centers we're having in Europe. So we're kicking off and sharing really some insights of 3 of them. Yeah. So we will start with the OCP experience center in Manchester, sorry, in the United Kingdom. Then Torben Minde will share some insights about the OCP experience center we're having in Sweden, in Luleå. And then we're finishing off this this chapter about the OCP Experience Center with the one we're having in France, in Lille, in the northern part of France. So Jean-Paul Svets, he will also be, we will be also sharing some insights what's happening there in Lille. Last but not least, the last agenda point we're having here is sharing some insights or sharing a promotion about an event coming up at the beginning of September in Berlin, where also now an OCP Experience Center will be opened at the location of the data center provider Scale-Up Technologies. They're opening up their experience center there in Berlin, and they will have an event there, and we will also share some insights what's happening there at the 5th of September. And then, of course, Q&A at the end, and then wrapping it up. All right, let's continue with the next slide here. So basically, this is something I shared already last time, but I will share it again this time because not all of you guys have been joining the one we had in July. So why we're having these kind of calls is, of course, discussing and having a platform or a forum where we can see, hey, where are components available in Europe? Is there a supply issue, a constraint? Where we have really good supply. So this is also a forum to share among us here as OCP fans, so to speak, or supporters in the European region. Yeah, and what is also happening a lot, and we have getting a lot of questions, and when we also around and visiting trade shows, people are asking us, hey, where can we get some support? Yeah, we have some people in the call now. For example, our colleagues from the UK, from Vespertech, they are happy to provide support when it comes to, let's say, having a cloud native data center design supported by our open source hardware and of course the open source software. Yeah. What we also would like to share in our forum here in these kind of monthly calls, where can actually deployed OCP gear being shared and being shown. And that's why, of course, we focus in this session on the existing one. We have a couple of more here in Europe, but of course, we have now three people sharing what's happening in the UK, France, and Sweden. What we're always doing, and again, today is another session where we do this. We would also, all the other workstream groups, to also share some updates. Yeah, we've done this last time. We had Rolf Brink from the cooling workstream group. He's done an update. So we will do this on a regular basis, asking other people to come in and share an update with our people here in the call. And last but not least, where are the obstacles here, where we can see the obstacles and challenges when it comes adopting OCP gear within the data center environment. Good. I think this is all, and I keep it for later. So I would like to jump, if you guys agree, and I would like Scott and Warren to share some insights about the OCP Experience Center located in Manchester in the UK. So let me close mine here and open up. I can also do this. And open up Scott's slide deck. Okay, like this. Okay, I click you through, and it's all yours, Scott.
Cheers, Stefan. Okay, hi everybody. Well, it's been a long time since we've done something like this, but we appreciate the opportunity to just explain who we are, what we're doing, and where OCP sits within our business. So I'm Scott Constable. I'm one of the directors here in the business of 15 people. We're a very technical run business, and sadly, I'm the least technical person within the business, but I am aware of OCP. As a business, well, based out of Manchester, as I said, we have a configuration center, we have a large data warehouse, and what we're looking to do is take out an open message to pretty much based out of UK, but pushing it all out globally. If you could move to the next slide, I can just give a bit of an insight as to who we are and what we do.
Can you see the next slide, Scott?
So, yeah, that's cool. Thank you very much. So, we call ourselves a system integrator, but in some ways we work direct with a lot of our vendors. So people could see us as a distributor, but we're very much that of a system integrator. And the difference comes through the fact that we will take relationships direct, mainly because a lot of the organizations we work with, especially on the server side, are open. So when we say open, what we mean is we're able to buy them at chassis form and then be able to integrate all the CPU, the memory, and the drives, etc. What we found was when we were setting this business up 6 years ago, open was being talked about from ODMs, a rise in the market coming in, and we thought that would be a good place for Vespa to set itself ahead of the curve in the side of technology, because historically, my background being in distribution, everybody's a reseller out there selling OEM brands, but there wasn't very many people talking about the brands that had actually supported cloud development. So what we looked at doing was having those relationships with people like Giga Computing, Quanta, Inspur, WeWin, MyTac, and we actively went out to meet those people throughout Europe to make an introduction and talk about our skill sets, which is being able to build infrastructure from the ground up. Through having those conversations, we did discover OCP. We weren't aware of that, but we were an early adopter of that message because it sat very well with us as a business. And so we went to many events where we would stand and talk about OCP in the early days, about 6 years ago. And we set out with an intention of trying to close OCP business. And on that run, we picked up a lot of relationships, we opened up a lot of conversations. But what we also learned is that the reality of OCP is not something that's going to close every day and keep your business running. So it made sense that we started to adopt the infrastructure that is built for OCP, but also has their enterprise infrastructure. So we took in, as I say, Giga Computing. We did take in QCT early days when they were building at L6. They changed their move to market where they wanted to build the whole infrastructure. So we still work with them, but I would say we're very much a Giga Computing player and one of the biggest in Europe. And our focus is to take this message out to MSPs, to hosting, to telco, to anyone really that's building a lot of infrastructure in the data center and having regular requirements. We're least interested maybe on the ones and twos because a lot of our focus is project driven. So where we picked up the servers, we then started to look at switching. And from that position, we worked with EdgeCore and we picked up Mellanox in its early days where they were working with multiple NOSes. And the one that we found that was the best message was Cumulus. And we worked with them and Mellanox very closely, single line of support. And we got some quick wins with introducing the NIC into the open infrastructure on the server side of things. And we also got some nice wins with switching deals after that. And we started to learn the pattern. We started to understand how to bring this kind of conversation of open infrastructure to an enterprise market. In the meantime, OCP has continuously been something that we've been interested in and wanting to sell. And off the back of that, we built ourselves a small OCP center alongside our configuration room. And in there, we've brought in a V1 rack where we realized that was older technology that had come out of people like Google, etc. But what we did do is learn an awful lot about that infrastructure once we had it on site and in situ. And then over time, we invested in a V2. And I think at that stage, we started to realize the value of the kit when we saw it. And we were able to then explain to customers that are looking at OCP, because there was a lot of interest out there, but the reality of them adopting that and bringing that into their data center was another thing. And so what we were able to do is at least explain the technical values, understand the power values that you need to have to be able to take this, and also the weight issues that you might come across. So if you move to the next slide.
Here you go.
Thank you. So this is where we have the V1 and V2 rack, and in that environment, you've got about 50 kilowatts three-phase power sitting in there. We have up to 4 racks, but some of those are 19-inch, and a lot of this is solar paneled. We have engineers obviously on hand, so if you wanted to VPN in to access that infrastructure, they're on hand to help put that together. If you wanted to actually be on site, we could also have that as well. It's all anti-stack environment, it's fully earthed, it has its own independent network, and what we have been and seen in this OCP center where we've been successful has been around people looking at maybe Kubernetes, and we've done a couple of customers where we built Kubernetes full rack systems and then pushed them out to what this particular customer I'm thinking of, out to the USA, where we built a spine and leaf topology based on Mellanox and Cumulus for them. We've also managed to push this out where we've seen out to developing countries, let's say, where they were looking at using Ceph storage, and that has been quite successful when it's been with Ceph. And I think we've got somebody on the call from Sardina today who we've partnered with to do these deployments. So we've seen, from an OCP point of view, we can see this has been something that not the business can rely on revenue-wise, but it's something that sits as a backbone of Vesper Technologies, because we're all about open. But what we found is that as much as people might be interested in this technology, it's not something that's easily adopted, especially a business of scale. So when we go through this kind of relationship with the customer to see where OCP can sit, we generally get a lot of pushback, especially in the data center. So what we've ended up doing is promoting the products that I talked about earlier, which is giga computing, super micro. And what we're always trying to do is understand where do they sit on the side of risk or moving away from an OEM that they're very familiar with. And generally, we're selling now super micro to the people that are happy to move away from Dell. But if they're large and they're seeing that the benefits of the cost savings that they would see moving to like a giga computing or a Quanta, or they're just a telco and they need some projects sitting on the edge, that's where we can introduce, potentially WeWin. That's where we can introduce Inspur into large finance GPU opportunities, etc. So we're always having this consultative relationship saying, why are you looking at OCP? Are you ready for it? And if they're not ready for it, then move them into something they're more familiar with. But we don't just stop on the servers, we move to the networking and then we move to the storage. And that's where we've been successful, and that's where we've built our business now today. We're roughly a 25 million revenue business with 15 people in. And as I said, mainly technical. So if you move to the next couple of slides, there we go. This slide just gives you how I would present our business. So at Vesper Tech at the core, we would like to think that we're OCP, we're part of that program. So a lot of our colors are very familiar to the open kind of coloring. And this is just to demonstrate the kind of idea of if you're close to an open message, taking that on, we have all those kind of brands that sit there. But if you're more OEM and you're less risk averse, the Oracles sit to the left, the kind of WeWins and the MyTech sit to the right, more to an open message. And as I said, we're just always trying to work out what kind of customer you are and what kind of software-defined data center that you can adopt and what technologies can work for you. And in some cases, as of today, even today, I have a customer talking to me about Dell buying maybe 200 servers and more familiar with the software, the VMware feel culturally, internally. But when you present them with well, at the moment, it's nearly a £200,000 saving against the same infrastructure. It's very hard for them to take that to their CTO and get it signed off, when we can say Gigabyte, which you have used in the past, can come in and save you so much more. So we're always trying to show them the difference and which one appetite of risk they're prepared to take. And I think if we move to the next slide, that just gives us a few of the customers that maybe I've jumped the queue a bit and that I've already talked about. These are not the names of the customers that we're talking about, but we've robbed this from a bunch of slides that we've already got. But it does give you a feel as to the kind of customers and how happy they are with the results that they've been getting. We're very much always there for the customer. We won't let go of the relationship. It's a continuous, lifelong relationship. So if we introduce you to any of these products, especially on the server range, then we can wrap that around with support. We're always very attentive to our customers. We will pick up the phone at any point of the day to answer any of their queries. And if they need any assistance in testing, we often will bring kit and infrastructure either into our config center in the OCP center where they can VPN in, or we will actually, in some cases, depending on the customer, provide them with that infrastructure. One brand that we've recently adopted is ASRock. They build generally from a board level up, but we're starting to build full rack systems for those guys and push out to customers as well. And that's mainly into the hosting space. So we've seen a big interest from telcos, more so on the OCP side. We've seen growth from a business from a HPC side with GPU servers integrated into white box. And that can also fall into finance. And we have MSPs who are more exploring at this current time how they move away from an OEM to a more kind of open giga computing as that becomes more mature in the market. One other customer that we've been very successful on the switching side is moving them away from Cisco. 5 data centers, 1,700 switches. We introduced Mellanox as the alternative. We also introduced EdgeCore as another alternative to exceed the price difference. But the customer fell more onto the single line of support that Mellanox were offering at the time with Cumulus. And that turned out to be 1,700 switches across 5 geos, which we ended up bringing most of the kit in, reducing the lead time for the customer when they were ready to next take out Cisco and deploy the Mellanox. And they are still running today on a 100 gig network. So it's been very successful for us, this whole open message. And I'm happy to take any questions at this point.
Great. So yeah, many thanks for all the insights you provided here to the team and all the excellent work you and your team are really doing in the UK. Really happy about this. Are there any questions straight away to Scott from our people here joining today's call? So I may have one, Scott, because in my understanding, yeah, you said which I really like. People can really come to your site, test and test OCP gear there. So we haven't been at your site so far, but do you have also possibility that you invite customers to come there, or potential customers? Can you also do a customer event there possibly?
We could do a customer event. It's not a massive office. It's imagine a boardroom, large warehouse, and then we have the configuration center. Above that, we have our sales and operations, so it's all in one place. So I think that's where we're extremely nimble. So if somebody from a sales point of view asks a question, I can just walk straight down to the engineers, get an answer straight away. But yeah, we're happy to take customers in. It's we've had some large telcos come in more recently from the enterprise side, and what we try and do is bring them close to us to show us our technical capabilities, but also just show them that we're very hands-on. The infrastructure is there for you to play with. It's there for you to to see. We've done some really interesting stuff with MapR many years ago, where they tested MapR running on OCP kit, and they got the best results they got out of that infrastructure over working with Dell or HPE. So we really believe in OCP. I just think it's just the hardest thing to sell to an organization, but it's just a matter of time, and it's about constantly being there, throwing it in front of their faces, giving them the opportunity, pricing it up, because sometimes that's hard to do. We're very good at getting quotes turned around quickly. We know this stuff very, very well. So we're very comfortable with OCP, where I think if you went outside of any of the OCP partner base, they would really struggle to communicate the message, not only to even provide the pricing.
So at one point, so David and myself, we were happy to really come to your site in Manchester and have and visit you guys. And then let's also talk about, maybe also after our calls, if you would be up for, let's say, an OCP customer event at your site at some point, maybe in springtime, something like that. So yeah, let's take it offline. Yeah, many thanks again for your time. All presentations, I think David also shared this in the chat, will be shared on our wiki page. Yeah, so also people not be able to joining our call today due to the summer season here in Europe, they can also afterwards have a look at the recording. All right, so I assume no further questions here from the team today. So I will now, thanks very much again, Scott and Warren. Let me let me quit here.
Are you gonna let me share something?
Yes. Okay, I will do that. Let me close this first here. Okay, I will. Okay, can you? I'm sharing my screen. Can you share your screen now, Torbjörn?
No, I'm not allowed to share. You need to let me do it.
Abbrechen. Ah yeah, hang on. You're totally right, Torbjörn. So you are now, I'm giving you now the moderator role. So you should be able now to share your screen, hopefully. Keeping my fingers crossed.
Yes.
Also, when it comes to administration, guys, this is the last call where we're using the GoToMeeting video system. We will switch to during the last for the next call in September. We're switching to Zoom, so I'm more familiar with Zoom. So I'm really happy about it.
All right. So everything is good now, Tor? You can share.
I'm not sure yet. I need to give you. Let me see. Where is the screen sharing?
The screen is really, below. If you click on the
yes,
sign,
but I need to allow sharing here. Share my screen.
Permissions.
Yeah. Yes, it's permissions here. Entire screen is better. Screen 2.
Looks good.
What?
It sounds good. I think you're probably on your way.
I'm not so sure yet.
How's the weather in Sweden? You have had also some heavy rain.
Lot of rain in south, but super hot in the north. We have 28 degrees today.
Okay.
No, I cannot share. Strange. Why?
Maybe there is an
privacy.
issue that you are present from web, not from application.
Yes, probably that's the problem.
Stefan, do you have a presentation of Tor?
I will send it. 1 second.
Oh, send it to me, yeah, and then we do it like this.
Yes. Sorry about this.
No worries. Always technical hiccups. We are live, so no worries. So as soon as I have it, we will.
Yes.
I will share it now with the team.
Or Stefan, if you have a presentation,
it's on the way now.
Jean-Paul, maybe we can.
No, Jean-Paul, you wanna go? You wanna go first then, or you wanna go before Torbjörn?
I can do now. I just sent you my slides
Okay.
by mail.
Oh, we do the same. Okay.
Or should I present myself? But I cannot present myself.
Yeah, but let me change the. Let's try to do like this.
You have my slides in your mailbox normally.
Yes, yes, we have that.
Okay. You should, Jean-Paul, maybe before I look in my inbox, please.
Now I can present. Good.
You can present. I'm giving you the moderator role, so you should be able now
to do the presentation. Wait a sec.
Have you received my slides, Stefan?
Let me have. Let's have a look.
Let's see if this works.
There can be issue if it's web.
Does it work?
Yes, now we see.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with Jean-Paul, and after we will shift to Tor. Okay.
And Torbjörn, I have your presentation now, so no worries. All good.
Okay, good.
So I'm Jean-Paul Smets from Rapid.Space, and hope I can get the next slide. Yes. So Rapid.Space is we call ourselves a fully open 5G edge cloud provider. So we are a cloud provider. We have points of presence in France, Germany, Netherlands, Bulgaria, Sweden, China, Taiwan, Japan. We are moving more and more towards edge rather than cloud, especially for the market we work with, which are, let's say, enterprise market. And we sell more and more a combination of edge point of presence and 5G or 4G private networks. We are fully open, which means that all the source code of a system is open source. We use open hardware from OCP, and we publish all the processes to operate our infrastructure online. We call that open process, because we encourage everyone to copy our edge cloud infrastructure. And so we have an online shop that has exactly the same OCP gears as the ones we use for ourselves. So when you go to shop.rapid.space, you can find in the area called Edge something called the Pod Barebone and the Pod Brute Barebone, which is let's say a starter kit at a reasonable price for somebody to fit in their 19-inch rack, Tioga Pass or Capri servers, and start playing with OCP gears. So our idea is really that it should be easy to start using OCP, just like it was for us maybe 5 years ago. We didn't have to spend 100 or 200,000 euro to start using OCP. We just had to spend a few thousand or a bit more than 10,000 euro to start deploying OCP for ourselves. And so we've verified that with this approach, anyone can build their own resilient edge cloud in just a matter of hours. We ship the gears. We tell people how to set them up remotely. Sometimes we use smart glasses and we say, please touch here, put your finger there, and it worked. We actually could remotely set up in China during COVID times when all travel were prohibited. We could set up let's say a complete point of presence with about 32 servers by people who never used Linux and never touched an open compute gear. So we have made an experience center in Lille, and we have 3 goals in that center. The first goal is that we want people to touch the open compute gears, because when they see pictures, they don't really know how it feels, but when they can take them out of the rack, open them with no screws and feel how easy it is, then they fall in love with the OCP servers. And that's how we could actually sell a bunch of servers to maybe the third cloud provider in France. We have mainly products from MyTech and EdgeCore, so Tioga Pass with Intel, Capri with AMD CPU, Awanda with Intel, that's for edge application. We use some switches from EdgeCore, and some people who don't want to travel can have access remotely to our experience center over IPv6 to try their own cloud software or experiment with other setups than the one of Rapid.Space. We've already helped one company to certify their software for Open Compute. The number 2 goal for us, that's a bit unique. We want to provide everything to people to combine Open Compute with radio units and deploy 4G, 5G virtual radio access networks. So Rapid.Space does Edge and 4G, 5G. I'm saying 4G, 5G because nowadays it's a bit surprising, but 4G is becoming in fashion again, and 5G is becoming a little bit out of fashion. That's because when you, let's say, the reason is simple. Most smartphones don't support 5G properly, especially iPhone. iPhone has a mode called standalone that basically doesn't work with most 5G networks. So many smartphones don't support, except in China, the pure 5G, that 4G is becoming in fashion again. That's why we do 4G and 5G. And so we have a lab fully equipped. We have Tioga Pass-based BBUs with CPRI interface. CPRI is the standard interface to connect computers with radio units. The radio unit is like an amplifier for the radio signal. And the Open Compute server, standard one, no accelerator, no dependency to anybody, computes the radio signal. So we have the same with AMD, Capri. We have an open source network management system called SlapOS. We have Amarisoft-based eNodeB, GNodeB software for radio, Amarisoft Core Network, and radios from AW2S France, Lobcom China, Sunwave China, ORS that's made also in France by Rapid.Space with Ethernet interface, and all this with IPv6 remote access. And we have test and measurement tools, which are important in the lab, with an Amarisoft Callbox to simulate a base station, Amarisoft Simbox that can simulate hundreds of smartphones connecting to the radios, and a network analyzer by Anritsu. And this way we can prove or let people try how an Open Compute standard servers with no dependency to any vendor can actually be used to build a real 4G or 5G network, either for public operator or for private applications in factories. We actually already provide this technology to Tier 1 operators in the world. The number 3 goal of this Experience Center is to facilitate design or adoption of new technologies. For example, we are very interested by wooden data centers, so we are going to acquire one. And
Jean-Paul, the slide is not shifted.
Ah, really?
Okay.
What do you see on the slide now?
We see now the goal 3.
Now all 3 is correct. Now it's correct.
Now it's correct. Okay. So there's a company doing wooden data centers in Europe that's fantastic. So we decided to acquire one. And this way we can try new things. We believe there is a need for a very small and affordable edge node in OCP lineup. We are going to try to contribute one. And we're also very interested in everything like open source firmware, either for replacing the proprietary BIOS or for the BMC. So that's another, for us, area of using the center for experimenting. The location is easy to access by train. From the Lille Europe station, it's 5 minutes. From Paris North, 1 hour train. From Paris CDG, 50 minutes. Brussels, 30 minutes. From Brussels Airport, 1 hour 20. Charleroi, 1 hour. London by train, 1 hour 30. and there's direct flights to many cities in Europe or in France, and of course from Charles de Gaulle, so it's a very easily accessible place. Thank you.
Great. So yeah, many thanks also, Jean-Paul. Yeah, location. Sorry.
Jean-Paul, yes, I have one question about the cloud. So as I know, you take a lot of attention to the server utilization, I mean, to the efficiency. Can you, in a few words, say about the importance of server utilization and how you achieve good results with that, with OCP?
So I know this is, I would say, this is a very important point, energy and server utilization for hyperscalers that have, I would say, lots of customer, lots of usage. We are very small cloud provider, which means we don't have enough servers to care about that. We have, let's say, in our structure of expenses, energy is not the most important in our case. What I can tell you, because we did actually research and some studies on that, is there is a nonlinear curve between usage of a machine and power usage, which means when the machine is idle, it consumes nearly nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When you just put a little bit of load, the power will grow very fast, and then when you add load, the power consumption will grow slowly. So if we want to minimize the power usage of a cloud, the strategy should be normally to try to load more machines that are already loaded and don't load machines that are not loaded. This will actually minimize power usage. But this is contradictory with isolation from security point of view. And because we focus more on selling one machine completely for one customer, we don't have implemented those strategies in our case. So that's one thing I can say. And besides that, I believe the usage of the bus bar and PowerShelf helps in terms of reducing a bit consumption.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jean-Paul, for insights.
Great. Again, many thanks, and yeah, all the good work also you doing. As I also said to Scott, Jean-Paul, and the full team, you're doing a great job there. I believe also, yeah, if customers would like to also go to your site and have touch it really and test it at your site, this is also possible, Jean-Paul, right?
At any time it's possible, and that's how this was the key to get OCP adopted by the third French cloud provider, because the day they could take the machines, bring it to the workshop, there's also a workshop in the center, and really remove components, put them back, that is where they got convinced.
Yeah.
And this is why we try to find ways to reduce the initial cost of trying OCP. So that's why we provide an all-in-one system for 19-inch rack, because all the enterprise have 19-inch racks, and this way they can start playing with just a few machines.
Okay, great.
Stefan, we are short in time. We have just 20 minutes to the end, and I suggest to shift to Björn.
Sorry, and many thanks, David, for being the timekeeper here. I'm always getting carried away.
Thank you, Jean-Paul.
Thank you very much, Jean-Paul. We continue, and also I'll also have an offline conversation with you and your team. I'm really excited what you guys are doing there. So, Torbjörn, last but not least, it will be your presentation, and I will happy to share this and just click you through, and you just talk us through those slides. Let me share my screen again here. Open the slide deck. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Torben, all
Yes.
yours.
Yes, so Torbjörn Minde is my name. I'm director of this research and testing team at RISE. RISE is the Research Institute of Sweden. It is, if you're a Fraunhofer guy, you know Fraunhofer in Germany, it's a Swedish Fraunhofer. We are located up north in Sweden, as you can see on this slide. We are close to the Meta data center, large no, don't go too fast. Or you want me to go to this fast, or?
No. Not me, Torben. I need to put it just as his own. Sorry.
Oops. Do the second slide. That's good. Yes. So we are close to the Meta facility here in Luleå. We were set up when Meta established 2011 in Sweden. That was the starting point to get something going with a test facility and research and test facility. And there you have a picture of part of it. We have 1,000 square meters of facility for testing. If you go to the next slide.
Okay, I do it now.
We were established 2016, and we are visible on OCP market as an ecosystem service. We do a lot of projects, and we are 24 employees just for the data center activities. But we also have a data software team that is about maybe they are 18 right now, that do a lot of open source. They work in open source projects, work with Kubernetes, OpenNebula, OpenStack, and those type of projects with the customers. But this team that focus on data centers and open compute hardware is 24, and we have a number of European projects. We are funded by European projects and national projects, and direct funded by a number of companies. And you can see the closest partners there on the list: Ericsson, ABB, Vattenfall, Meta, and the university and region, and then Vertiv and Castrol are the big partners. And we offer research and test environment to do projects in a number of areas, as you can see: waste, heat reuse, air thermal management, liquid immersion cooling, on-chip or immersion, life cycle assessment, on-site power generation is projects we have done. We do a number of machine learning projects to control the operations, and then edge is another area we have been touching a lot. If you go to the next slide. So we have a facility with a number of possible areas of what do you call it, test beds. We have a 400 server open compute server module where we can do a lot of air cooling experiments, and we have done a number of projects there, and currently working for Meta to look at how to control the cooling. We have wind tunnels of different kinds to look at the airflow through servers. We also have on-chip and immersion cooling test benches there, where we are doing testing of open compute gear in immersion and on-chip. And we will continue to improve that area. The on-chip area will be something we will work even more now in the future. Okay. So we have I heard someone mention the wood data center and the need of edge gear, open compute edge gear. We did the project where we designed a half rack edge node, self-contained. We cut one open OCP version 3 rack in half and designed a closed little edge node. It was really nice project, and we have talked to Carl Rabe about the Wooden Data Center about this project. Maybe we do something together with them. Okay, if you go further.
Yeah.
We have next slide. Here is, I just to show you two projects here, just to give you a feel of what we've been doing. So for example, this is a little bit older Open Compute gear, but we studied them in the wind tunnel in one EU project. And of course, you can easily find out that there is a sweet spot to run the servers to get the lowest energy use and most performance out of them. And then if you put that into a data center, you need to control the facility fans and together with the server fans. So this is something we call holistic cooling. And we did that for a 500 kilowatt Open Compute data center. And as you can see, we reached in the middle graph there, you can see the partial PUE values, and you can see we reached really low PUE values running the Open Compute data center with holistic cooling and controlling the environment. Of course, we were running this in the north part of Sweden, so it's easier to get down to really low PUE values. We measured the ISO PUE for 1 year operations, and that was 10148. So it's really, really low, but it's possible when you run a data center without UPS and you rely on double grid and you run direct fresh air cooling and operate it with holistic cooling. Then you can get down in these levels. So that was one big project we have done. Then other big project we have done, if you go to next slide, with Open Compute gear, is an immersion system from Submer and Open Compute hardware in 12 kilowatt tank with the fuel cells providing the power for the little edge data container. And we have been operating that one as well for 1 year and collect a lot of data how to operate the immersion system for a year with Open Compute hardware and also powered by fuel cells and gas. So that was another big project that we have been running lately. So we do experiment and testing and research projects together with partners, and you saw the partners there. And in this way you can learn how to improve how to use the Open Compute gear and experience it. So this is the Luleå site, focusing maybe more on research and testing of equipment.
Perfect.
I think that was the last one.
Last slide. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. Stefan, Torbjörn, thank you very much for the presentation. It is not easy to get us to Lille or in Manchester, but there is a lot of experience you can find, because as you said, there is a Meta, there is fresh air cooling, immersion cooling, on-chip cooling, fuel cells, a lot of things which from facility point of view can be experienced with RISE. A question, Torbjörn, how easy to be invited to your experience center?
We are always open to invite people, and of course we are a little bit off site, as you know. Luleå, you have 2 flights from your place to us, but of course that also has some benefits. We can keep on working without messing around too much with other people. We are home working, do the homework. Yes, but we have a big lot of traffic right now of companies that want to do experience this and do projects with us, and you will probably hear more projects coming our way now. As you probably know, Isabelle Kemlin, she came over to us from CBRE, and she is right now working a lot with a number of customers or partners. And we have a partner program, so you can be a get some deep and close collaboration with us. So that is how we operate. But we do a lot of public funded projects, and as you know, we have invited you now to a big one. I hope we can work that out. I hope you have heard that, Stefan and David. But we are talking to the US team and Steve. I don't know if he's here on the meeting. Oh, sorry.
Steve is not in the.
Yeah.
Title got from Vespa. Is this a site that, it looks very impressive, I have to say. Is it a site that we could potentially bring our own customers in to talk about OCP at scale? Because is that kind of what you're showing here, that it is achievable? It is something that can be deployed, and
yes,
seeing it physically like that would be quite impressive.
We not just a show place. We have a lot of visitors here, but it's not just a show place. We really want to come to concrete projects, to do some studies or something, to try things and do testing of things and design things. We are half academic and half industrial kind of organization. So we have PhD students working a little bit more long-term goals, but we also have a lot of engineers that we can do projects that check out question.
A question: if we will organize like a group visit, like 10-15 people to come and see how it can be done with OCP, it will be possible, right?
Yes, it will be very possible, and we can focus then on OCP gear. Probably if it's the OCP team coming, we should show those kind of projects we have done. And yeah, that would be nice.
Great.
So David, let's organize something, and also here within the groups that people would like to join, you're happy to really come back to me and David. And yeah, Torbjörn, as you know, you and John Summers, you invited me several times.
Yes.
Then we had also COVID.
yes.
But
no.
now eventually,
now it's time.
It's about time now. And David and myself, we would like to try to organize a group and then come to your site. And yeah, we're really excited about that.
Yes, I suggest to put a call to action on our wiki page after this presentation, that if people want to visit this experience center, just to reach to Stefan or me in order to be included in the list of the participants of the visit.
And then, of course, we can also see Torbjörn, if he maybe also, of course, have a visit at your site. Maybe it can be also combined with a visit of the Facebook site, which is not too far away from your location. But yeah, these are details. Let's take the line. But in general, thanks again for the invitation here to OCP European team here.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay. Thanks very much. Sorry, David.
Yes, I want to ask participants, is there any questions which you want to ask overall, general, or you want to rise up to talk for the next calls, or to Torbjörn? Please unmute yourself and just say your questions or feelings. If there is no,
if there is no questions, no worries. We can also come back later. We have one last agenda point I would like to share with you. This is the event now happening at the beginning of September. Let me eventually share my screen again and open that slide deck. Hopefully I have it somewhere here. No, that's not the one. There you go. I promised Christoph to share this with you guys before we're running out of time here. So this is a European meeting taking place in Berlin, in the lovely town of Berlin, the capital of Germany. There were scale-up technologies. There are, as you all know, a data center provider having several sites and several locations in Germany. They have one in Berlin. I think there's also one or two in Hamburg, and one is in the so-called Ruhrgebiet, in the industrial area of Germany. Here in Berlin, they open up an OCP Experience Center, as I already mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. And here you can see at the left-hand side, you can see the agenda. Yeah. So Christoph, he wanted to present, but I think he's as we are speaking now, he's on a train ride with not a good connection. That's why I'm doing this on his behalf. It's again, you can see here, you can read it up yourself, but it's an introduction of OCP by Christoph. Then, of course, someone from OCP will be there. David and I will not be joining, unfortunately, that event, as we at the same time, we will be joining the global platform event in Antibes in France. And that's why we could not be there, but we will be in France. So also people from here, from this group coming to France to joining this event, we are happy to meet you guys in person. Yeah, Jean-Paul and Sven, if you can make it from Lille to the Côte d'Azur, and I would love to meet up with you guys in person. You can see here,
yeah.
Strode. Sorry.
And he's put the link to how to register to that event in the chat.
In the chat, thank you very much, David. And you can see here, Strodis will be there, Swissbit, Legrand, Wooden Data Center will be present, and last but not least, Open Source Business Alliance. These are the agenda points planned. It's starting at the 5th of September from 9 to, I think, 5 o'clock in the evening. And knowing Christoph, at the end of the day, there will be some get together and eventually some discussion, socializing, networking at this kind of event in Berlin. All right, I think we are running out of time. Yeah. Again, let me unshare my screen, and I would like to thank everyone for really joining today and all the presentations. I believe I have all presentations from you guys. As David has been saying, we're sharing these presentations on our wiki page. We will promote this also. We will share it on LinkedIn. Also the video recording of today's session. And we are looking forward to meeting you guys at the next session, which is taking place at the 12th of September. All right?
And it will be on Zoom, not
on Zoom, yes.
go to meeting. So right. We will update about the next invitation and include the link there also.
Thanks very much. You take care. Have a nice week. All the best.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.